Have you ever felt a ghostly presence lurking in the shadows? Something you can't explain, yet you know deep down it's there? The kind of presence that makes your skin crawl and your heart race, even though your mind can't fully grasp it. What about feeling the ghostly touch, one that feels all too real, yet you can't stop it? The feeling of intimacy, unwanted and terrifying, as if something unseen is invading your very being. You struggle, but your body refuses to move, paralyzed with fear, unable to stop the harrowing sensation. You're not alone. Across the world, there are places and paranormal encounters that defy reason, leaving the brave trembling in fear. These are the stories of the unexplained, where ghosts, spirits, and shadows challenge the boundaries of our reality. Brace yourself for 10 of the most chilling paranormal encounters that will keep you up at night. 1. African woman molested by a ghost. In a small village nestled among the rolling hills of Africa, there lived a woman named Zuri, known for her deep connection with the locals. One fateful night, as the full moon bathed her humble home in silvery light, Zuri sensed an unfamiliar presence drifting through the air. The atmosphere changed, the temperature dropped, and a faint, ethereal glow began to outline the figure of a ghostly man. As he entered her space, the air seemed to thrum with energy, and Zuri felt an uneasy mixture of fear and something inexplicable, like a pull toward him. His spectral gaze held her captive. She could feel the emotions he projected, but she was powerless to resist, as if the boundaries between their worlds had been blurred. As the ghost drew closer, Zuri marveled at the surreal experience unfolding before her. The figure shimmered in and out of focus, like a shadow in front of her, his presence both tangible and unreal. She could feel the coldness of the air around him, and though she could see through his translucent form, an overwhelming sense of helplessness washed over her. In that moment, it felt as if an unseen force had taken control of her body, pulling down her underwear, leaving her unable to stop what was happening, no matter how hard she tried to fight it. It was as though the very air around her was manipulated by the ghost's will, rendering her immobile. This encounter, chilling and inexplicable, repeated itself over the course of several weeks, each instance leaving Zuri feeling more trapped and alone. Fear grew inside her, she dreaded sleep, and her once safe home became a place of terror, as the ghost would come and go at will. Eventually, after weeks of torment, a group of Seventh-day Adventists arrived, offering prayers and support. Their faith and prayers were a lifeline, and with their help, Zuri was finally delivered from the nightmare that had haunted her for so long. Are you feeling the chill creeping up your spine? If you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more terrifying tales that will leave you questioning what's real. Now, let's move on to the next terrifying encounter. 2. The vanishing hitchhiker. On a lonely road in rural Pennsylvania, a man picked up a hitchhiker, a quiet woman in a flowing white dress. She gave him an address before falling silent. When they reached the destination, the man turned to let her out, only to find the seat empty, confused. He knocked on the door of the house. An elderly woman answered and tearfully explained that her daughter, wearing the same dress, had died in an accident on that road years ago. She described the man's experience as identical to what others had reported her daughter seeking her way home, even in death. 3. Diane Ladd and the Watergate Hotel Ghost. Actress Diane Ladd had an eerie brush with the paranormal while staying at Washington, D.C.'s historic Watergate Hotel. One night, she was abruptly awakened by the presence of a ghostly figure. The supernatural activity didn't stop there. She later began hearing mysterious whispers while on stage. In a twist, the entity identified itself as Martha, the wife of John Mitchell, a central figure in the infamous Watergate scandal. Martha Mitchell, often remembered for her bold outspokenness during the scandal, seemed to use Ladd as a conduit, inspiring her to advocate for a film portraying Martha's story, further entwining the ghostly encounter with the actress's artistic endeavors. 4. Courtney Cox's haunted house. Courtney Cox, known for her role in Friends, had her own run-in with the supernatural in a home she once owned in Los Angeles' Laurel Canyon. Previously inhabited by burlesque icon Gypsy Rose Lee, the house was rumored to be haunted. Initially skeptical, Cox grew uneasy as guests began reporting encounters with a spectral woman. The unease culminated when a UPS delivery person claimed to feel a chilling presence behind her. Unable to shake the eerie atmosphere, Cox ultimately decided to sell the house, citing discomfort with the unexplained paranormal events that seemed to plague the property. What if you're never truly alone and the walls around you whispered secrets of the other world? The next stories will leave you questioning the safety of your own home. The next paranormal encounters are darker. Don't look away. 5. Jenna Bush Hager. While living in the White House, Jenna Bush Hager and her twin sister Barbara experienced eerie and unexplained phenomena that added a supernatural twist to their famous residence. One night, the twins were startled by the sound of 1920s piano music and opera emanating from their fireplace, despite the absence of any physical source. The chillingly specific music left them unnerved, prompting Jenna to describe it as something straight out of a ghost story. When they shared their experience with White House staff, they were surprised to hear that others had encountered similar occurrences. Some workers reported hearing mysterious footsteps and whispers late at night, particularly in the oldest parts of the building. The family speculated about whether these incidents were tied to the building's storied past, with its many historical residents and events. Jenna recounted these stories during interviews, describing the mix of fear and fascination she felt growing up in such a historically charged place. Despite the fear, the twins often joked about the possibility of friendly ghosts from past presidential eras keeping them company. These spectral tales add a haunting layer to the already iconic history of the White House, making it a setting for not only political history but also paranormal lore. 6. Miley Cyrus. During her stay in a London apartment, Miley Cyrus encountered events so terrifying that she felt compelled to leave. The most chilling experience involved seeing the ghostly figure of a young boy, an apparition that appeared multiple times in unsettling ways. Miley described the figure as pale, with a distant, sorrowful expression that seemed to watch her without malice but with undeniable intensity. These sightings coincided with other inexplicable occurrences in the apartment. One particularly frightening incident involved her sister, who suffered burns when the shower knob mysteriously turned itself to scalding hot. Miley also reported hearing strange noises at night, such as soft tapping sounds and whispers from unoccupied rooms. These events created an oppressive atmosphere that made her feel constantly on edge. She later discovered that the apartment had a grim history, including rumors of past tragedies involving children. Unable to cope with the persistent haunting, Miley decided to move out, citing the need for peace and safety. This chapter of her life left her shaken and gave her a newfound belief in the paranormal, which she has spoken about publicly since. 7. Salma Hayek. Salma Hayek's London home became a focal point of supernatural activity, with a series of unexplained events that left her and her household unnerved. One of the most chilling phenomena was the sound of a piano playing on its own, often late at night when no one was in the room. Lights flickered on and off seemingly at random, doors opened and closed as if pushed by unseen hands, and cold spots appeared in rooms with no logical explanation. These disturbances disrupted the daily life of everyone in the house, with staff members reporting their own unsettling encounters, such as fleeting shadows and disembodied voices. Concerned for the safety and sanity of her family, Salma reached out to experts in the paranormal to investigate the property. The investigators confirmed the presence of multiple spirits, some of whom they claimed were attached to specific objects in the house. While some spirits were described as benign, others were said to be more aggressive, contributing to the growing unease in the household. Salma has since spoken about these experiences, emphasizing how deeply they affected her perception of the supernatural. Her story has become a popular topic among paranormal enthusiasts, cementing her home's reputation as a haunted location. 8. Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey's Hollywood home was haunted by a spirit he named Madame Blue, whose presence he initially found both eerie and intriguing. The haunting began with small, inexplicable occurrences such as objects moving on their own and strange cold drafts in rooms with no open windows. Things escalated when Matthew began hearing footsteps in empty hallways late at night, and seeing fleeting shadows in his peripheral vision. In one bold moment, he decided to confront the spirit directly, speaking aloud to assert his presence in the house. After this confrontation, the haunting seemed to subside temporarily, but guests visiting the home reported seeing a ghostly figure in the hallway. These encounters convinced Matthew that Madame Blue was more than just his imagination. He described her presence as neither threatening nor friendly, but more like a watchful observer. Over time, the spirit's activity faded, leading Matthew to believe that Madame Blue had decided to leave. The actor has since shared this story with fans, highlighting the strange and memorable chapter in his life. 9. Gigi Hadid. As a child, Gigi Hadid grew up in a house with a reputation for being haunted, an experience that left her both frightened and curious about the paranormal. One recurring event involved strange noises emanating from her closet, such as faint knocking or rustling sounds when no one was near. These sounds were often accompanied by a sense of being watched, an unsettling feeling that Gigi couldn't shake even in daylight. Her fear grew when her father revealed that an elderly woman had lived and passed away in the house, potentially linking the noises to her restless spirit. The family also noticed objects moving without explanation, such as books falling from shelves or toys appearing in places they hadn't been left. Despite the eerie occurrences, Gigi's parents tried to comfort her by attributing the activity to a harmless presence. However, Gigi remained cautious, avoiding certain rooms in the house whenever possible. These experiences stayed with her into adulthood, sparking her interest in ghost stories and the unexplained. Today, Gigi occasionally shares these childhood memories, offering a rare glimpse into her early life and her connection to the supernatural. 10. Peter Jackson's ghostly encounter. Renowned director Peter Jackson, the visionary behind The Lord of the Rings, once faced an experience straight out of a horror film. Awakened in the dead of night, he was paralyzed by the sight of a spectral woman standing at the foot of his bed. Her face was contorted in anguish, and her piercing scream seemed to echo beyond the physical world, chilling him to the bone. This wasn't the first time the ghostly figure had appeared. Jackson's partner, Fran Walsh, had encountered the same apparition. Their investigations pointed to a nearby theater notorious for paranormal activity, hinting at a restless spirit trapped between worlds. For Jackson, the memory was more than just a fleeting nightmare. It left an indelible mark on his psyche, fueling his fascination with the macabre and shaping his stories with an eerie realism that seemed to come from personal experience. The veil between the natural and the supernatural grows thinner with each tale we uncover. If these chilling encounters sent shivers down your spine, there's more to explore. Like, share, and follow for more paranormal revelations. And let us know in the comments, do you believe these celebrity hauntings were real, or are they the stuff of Hollywood imagination? Stay curious and keep your lights on.